boy rescued a robot from the junkyard and sent it into the ring of a world-class boxing tournament. Arthur made a grand entrance, his dazzling dance moves lighting up the crowd. Today, he was up against Zeus, a pay-to-win champion robot with no known rivals. Zeus leapt onto the stage with a thunderous landing. The ground shook, and the referee blew the opening whistle. Arthur had barely found his footing when Zeus knocked him down with a single punch. He got back up and got hit again. Each time he tried to stand, Zeus would strike him right back down, driving him into the corner of the ring. Eventually, Arthur collapsed. The referee started the countdown. Then, he heard the boy's voice calling out to him. Somehow, Arthur rose again, only to be cornered once more. But this time, he covered his head just in time and fired back with an uppercut that forced Zeus to take a step back. Jason, standing ringside, finally found his rhythm. He began using voice commands to guide Arthur's movements. The tide began to turn. Arthur started to fight back, but mistakes still happened. He was driven back into the corner again. Zeus unleashed a brutal combo. Body shots followed by head blows. On repeat, over 80 times. Just as Zeus was winding up for a final blow, the bell rang. Arthur had somehow survived the first round. Jason rushed in, swapping out parts and getting Arthur ready for round 2. The second round began. Zeus tossed Arthur like a ragdoll across the ring. Arthur clearly wasn't on Zeus's level, but he had the will to fight. He kept dragging himself to his feet, even when his voice control system was smashed and he could no longer respond to commands. He held on till the end of round 2, while slumped in a corner, running on pure willpower. Now, the boy looked Jason in the eyes and demanded he use the motion sync system. Jason looked at the battered, smoking robot, then at the boy's unshakable gaze. There was no hesitation. Round 3, Jason stepped up behind the ropes and threw an uppercut in the air. On the stage, Arthur mirrored the move. Before long, Arthur was driven into the corner again. The boy shouted anxiously, urging Jason to counterattack, but Jason calmly said, "I'm waiting for the right moment." Then, he taunted Zeus, raising his fists and inviting the fight. He didn't throw a single punch at first, only blocked, dodged, absorbed. He was testing Zeus's stamina, and it worked. Zeus began to slow down. Jason saw the opening. He threw a clean uppercut. Arthur delivered it perfectly. Then punch after punch landed. Zeus couldn't fight back, but suddenly, Zeus's team switched him to manual mode. The handlers grabbed their joysticks, turning the tide once again. Arthur was cornered until he spun away from an attack, then jumped and landed a crushing blow. Now it was Zeus who was stuck in the corner, taking hit after hit from Arthur. Jason fought with everything he had, lost in the memory of his own days in the ring. Arthur threw another punch and another, until finally, he knocked Zeus flat on his back. The crowd went wild. This junkyard robot no one believed in had become a hero, but when the referee announced the result, Zeus had won by a single point. Arthur may have lost the match, but he won everyone's respect.